lot of designers call this brand identity because you give an identity, a living being as your brand. And I'm not talking just about the logo. Oh, I have a logo, I have a brand. A lot of people think logos have been generalized so much and like, I have a logo, now my brand is ready, I'm ready to go.
Yeah, and a lot of people get stuck on that too.
And there's so much behind the brand.
Welcome to the Peak Passion Podcast,
where we explore the secrets of creativity, inspiration, and business.
And today we're going a bit more into social media marketing. So, sometimes we get the question, what can social media do for my business? Do I really need to have a social media presence? And how can it actually improve my business? So what would you say, what would you normally, if someone asked you that, what would you normally say?
Well, social media is such an overused topic right now. Everywhere you check online, people say like, oh, social media is the key, social media is everything. And I think social media is important. And it's a key part right now in our world to how people perceive your brand and your business online. You need to have some kind of social media presence to confirm your business. Even if you have your store, you have your products, you have everything, and you're like, oh, I'm not into social media, I'm not going to create it. Mm-hmm. You lose one of the most used tools in this time. People, how much time of their lives they spend on social media is crazy. People's like scrolling in YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok right now, and who knows what comes next, what social media will be trending in the future. Even LinkedIn is getting traction right now from different things. But every person should have some kind of presence on social media. Why? Because it makes your brand stronger, easier to identify, to see what you stand for. And if you want to present yourself, I'm not saying that that's the only way, but this is a really easy way to reach more clients, to reach more people who's looking what you're offering.
The thing is with me, for example, when I look for a restaurant or when I look for something like I'm going to a certain place, the first thing you look for is like, okay, do they have a website? But mostly you even start looking like at their Instagram, their Facebook page or something like that like some kind of social media presence that they have. And for example, with a restaurant, you quickly start looking at like are the photos nice? And if you go to their social media and at their Instagram, for example, you look at the photos and you think like, oh, then you you quickly don't go to that restaurant anymore because I see it a bit like a business card. So it is something that if people ask me, like, do I need a social media presence? I think you should. They will go to your social media and they will check it out, and you create trust in that way. If we are building our business, if we're scaling our business, then if you want them to know, like, and trust you, of course, they're going to your social media and they're going to figure out like who you are as a brand and what you do and what kind of food you have or what kind of product you have or what kind of what they feel with your brand presence.
The thing is, right now, most people, when you say social media or you use that word, well, it's two words, social media, is media that you produce to engage socially, to create a connection, a bridge from you to others. Mm-hmm. And right now, a lot of people took that in a different level, on a different scale, and they start using as an influence. And an influence, what it is, I'm an influencer, the famous word, I'm an influencer, I have an influence over people. That's what other people, like big companies, they were last year or 2 years ago, there was a big hype of hiring influencers to have influencer marketing. And they're paying these influencers use their products, to promote their brands, to share their things through their platforms. Why? Because they created this influence. And there is a good thing and a bad thing about this, because people don't really understand social media and the power of it. Because you think, oh, that's for influencers. That's for people dancing on TikTok. I'm not a TikTok dancer. Why are we gonna do my TikTok dance? Like, there's a lot of people on TikTok that are not dancing. They're sharing tips, they're sharing information, they're giving value. But because of the general idea of dancing that's been known in that platform, people has that general idea of social media and what influencers, what you could call them, or people with an influence too. And there's a miscommunication with that. There's a lot of companies all around the world that do completely different things through social media, and you see it every single day. You think of big brands like Coca-Cola, like maybe Starbucks, for example, or Apple. They call this onboarding process. onboarding process is your experience with the company and how you attract those clients, sorting it out who resonates with your brand, with your presence, to get you to buy, because they like you, they know you, and they trust you, and you buy their products, you buy the experience, you buy how much times you've been to Starbucks, like, oh, I want to have a nice time, I want to work, I want to have a coffee. And you right away think of Starbucks or some kind of coffee place. Here in Europe, it's a bit different. You have a lot of nice coffee everywhere. But more in US or in America in general, you can get a nice experience through Starbucks. And people go because of that.
Yep.
They want to experience that idea of having my coffee, relaxing, maybe working there or whatever they have in mind. For students, it's really famous to go to Starbucks and have that living room experience. They build that experience through their colors, through their branding, to all the general idea they project to others.
Mm-hmm.
It's been a whole experience, the cup and everything. There's like a whole branding and marketing built upon that. And for example, companies like Apple have the same. They have a simple looking website, simple looking products. All the ideas built upon that. And they project it through social media. If they have no social media or no social proof or no branding or marketing. Right now they use these influencers or people because it's a lot easier to leverage from those people that have people following because what they like, know and trust. They like this person, they know this person, they trust this person, and this person is already promoting the product. They use that as an advantage for them to promote their product.
Yeah, and if their brand presence, their presence on their social media and their website would look very different, then you also, as a customer, you get confused. So in the moment that it has to be like all aligned, and it starts like what you're talking about, the onboarding process is something that starts already with that social media presence. So in the moment you've never heard of a brand and you go to their social media and you check it out, then that is the first thing, that's the first impression like about the brand. And then you're going to think about it like, okay, am I going to this place or am I gonna give them a follow, or the potential client, the prospect, when they arrive with your social media, they're gonna actually think about like, okay, am I going to follow this person, or what action am I going to take, or am I just not interested in what this person doesn't align with me, or their values don't match with me, then you go out of their social media and then you won't and then in that way you lost them. All has to be in like aligned, like the presence on your social media, the presence on the website, the and also the experience. If they, for example, in a place like Starbucks, if they get to the Starbucks, then of course it's still gonna give the same feeling. It's gonna have the same colors, it's gonna have the same like the warm feeling, like the living room experience, like you're saying, to when they arrive in the living room in the Starbucks, then that's gonna have all like it's all coming together in that way.
Yeah, and a lot of designers call this brand identity because you give an identity, a living being as your brand. And I'm not talking just about the logo. Oh, I have a logo, I have a brand. A lot of people think logos have been generalized so much and like I have a logo, now my brand is ready, I'm ready to go.
Yeah, and a lot of people get stuck on that too.
And there's so much behind the brand. The so-called onboarding process thinks it's like, oh, how I get my clients, I just have maybe a couple questions that they ask and I get and deliver what they want. No, but this is a whole experience. Maybe the colors of the brand, what's the color scheme that you select to project your brand towards this specific person who feels attracted to those colors, who feels identified by it. Mm-hmm. Or maybe the fonts. The fonts are important. We can talk about fonts for hours, but some people like certain things. They project the specific forms, the colors, the fonts. The logo itself is important too. But maybe the sound right now sound is so important. You're listening to a podcast maybe through sound right now, or in general, in the radio, like from years ago, there were some jingles, they reflect to that brand. Or maybe in the supermarket, you go to the supermarket and you feel like a specific jingle that stays in your head.
Yeah.
And it captures your idea and your essence with that brand. And all those things create your brand identity. There is like 5 or 7 things that you create with this. I think it's the fonts, the colors, the logo, the name of the brand, the way they talk, they have a voice. Every brand has a voice and you speak differently to each person. If you check the marketing, for example, of Apple, is completely different than marketing from Starbucks, and the way how they present their brand and their marketing in general. And this onboarding process and this presentation, this identity they create with every single post helps you to generalize and narrow down what you project to them. And you capture that specific person that you want to buy. Well, that you want them to buy you, to buy your product, to buy your identity, what you're selling.
Yeah.
We hope you've enjoyed this episode. Download your free guide in the link below. Thanks for listening. See you in the next one.